Okay, what I'm going to talk to you about today is a bird that I've had, a breed that I've had for many years. I don't even know how long I've had them, but a long time. I had them when you couldn't hardly find them. And it's a starling. And a starling is a pretty neat bird. It's actually a field pigeon. It was originated in South Germany. And the reason it was a field pigeon is because the people used to keep them and give them housing, but they didn't feed them. They would go out and forage for themselves and then come back and raise their young. And then the farmers, when they needed them, they would actually eat the squabs for food. Think that's what they had to do back then. Everything was centered around having food. And I'm sure some of them treated them like pets also. But we're going to get into these starlings and tell you a little bit about them. I'll take a basic one here and show you first. Probably one of the most well-known colors. It's a black-white bar. As you can see, it's got white bars on its wing. It's got a good black, shiny color. But the real deal is it has the crescent on the front, that white crescent. This is where they get their name. They get it from the starling, the blackbird starling. A starling has a pattern on its chest the same way. And that's how they got their name. And this is the black-white bar. It differs from some of the other starlings in that it is shiny, has a shiny plumage, similar to an archangel, meaning that it has an oil gland. All right. Birds want to pile up, don't get anywhere where I'm not around. Okay, this is another excellent specimen. This is a blue-white bar, basically what it is, and it's got the crescent on the front. Very, very strong birds. From difficulty to raising, like I've said before, if 1 is the most difficult and 10 is the easiest, a starling will be at least a 9. They're easy to breed. They're a little flighty at first. I don't have as much problem with them as some people. You notice that this one's got a crest. This is a peak crest. That's very rare in starlings. They can have peak crest. They can be plain-headed, or they can be shell crested. Either one, doesn't matter. But there's your blue-white bar starling. All right, let me show you this. This is a real beautiful bird. This is one of my better breeders. I get some good babies out of this. But this is, some would call this a marble starling. I'm going to call this bird a spangle. That's going to be my name for it. I'm going to call it a spangle. It's got a real dark, deep black plumage, and I call it spangled. And if you notice, it's got muffs on it. Some of these starlings have muffs on their feet, little grouse leg or whatever. I didn't put them there. They just showed up. So it's just something that they have. Okay, now this is what I call a marble starling. Got marbling on the wings. It also has the finch marks on the tips of its on the tips of its wings. All its flight feathers have got a white mark on them. And that's characteristics of a starling. This is a beautiful bird here. This is a cock. He's got a shell crest, a real nice shell crest, and his plumage is extra, extra dark. Very nice bird. This is a breeder that I have. I get some nice babies out of him. To give you an idea, I'll see if he'll let me spread this thing apart. Hey, calm down. You can see that pattern on them. That's the marble starling. Okay. Where's that bird at? Okay, this is a reduced. Silver, beautiful bird. Rare in this breed. Lucky to have this bird. Compare this bird up with a black one, and then I get some black and also get some reduced. It's a beautiful starling there, reduced. Okay, this is an unusual color here. This is a rosy neck. You notice kind of a rose color neck. It also has a little starling patch on the front of it. This bird is also white barred. Now this is something that came up in one of my archangels, and I carried it over to the starling. And from what I could tell about the two breeds, the starling and the archangel, they may not be brothers and sisters, but they're at least first cousins. Their characteristics are the same, their size is the same, and if you want to fool around with colors, they seem to accept each other's colors better than other breeds. But this is a stunning bird here, a rosy neck white bar starling. This is one of my breeders. Had this bird. He's probably 4 or 5 years old, but he's still a great breeder. This is what I call a silver lace starling. He has lightweight penciling on the end of his feathers. It's almost white. If you look at it from a distance, it's almost solid white. Usually has deep black color like this bird, and no color on the head. It runs up to the head and to the neck, and it stops right there. But that's what we call a silver lace starling. One other thing I'm going to be doing too, let me get this one. One other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting some pictures along with these birds. As I talk about them, I'm going to put some pictures in there. I'm going to put them, or either put them at the end of the clip. Looks like it's snowing in here. The feathers are flying around. This is in the starling family. This is what's called a Danish Suabian. They're known, and their wings are white. If they're perfect, they don't have any lacing on them, and the color runs up their back and runs up the top of their head like this. Kind of like a Lahore pattern would be the way it would be. And they got the black circle around the eyes. Beautiful bird. This is a pretty good marked bird. It isn't quite as white as I would like, but this is this year's bird, so it's going to get better. It too has the finch mark, and that's the Danish Suabian. I have those in red. I have them in black. Okay, this next bird I'm going to show you is a subspecies of a starling. It's called a pheasant pigeon. Basically, the pheasant pigeon has check marks on its wings. I have these in black, and this one's red. Very attractive bird, and it has a ring around its neck, kind of like a ring-necked pheasant. But it gets its name for the ring around its neck and also the checking on the wings. But that's a red pheasant pigeon. They come plain-headed, shell-crested, and peak-crested. Okay, I want to show you this little bird. This is a bird. He's still squeaking. He's not quite weaned yet. But what I want to show you is what they look like when they're in the nest. They're brown. The red ones are red. But all that changes. When they molt, all of these dark feathers are turned white. Depending on the subspecies they are, whether they turn solid white or whether they're laced or whether they're marbled or whether they're spangled. But that's what they look like. Even got the finch marks on the babies. This is going to be a real good bird. He's real dark. He's got dark feet. That means he's going to be real good, and he's got a shell crest. This bird didn't quite wean. The first ones I had, and the babies come out like that, I said, oh my goodness, where did that come from? So I called the guy that I got them from. I said, wait a minute, man, we got a problem. I bought these pheasant pigeons, these starlings. I thought that they were going to come out white. I said, they're brown. Well, he laughed, of course. And he said, well, I should have told you that. But I was just ignorant. I didn't know any better. So don't freak out if you get any of these and they come out with brown or red, because they're going to all change for you. Well, I hope I've shared something with you that you can use, and I hope you enjoyed it, because I enjoyed telling you about it. I enjoy telling about these birds. And so we're going to go now. Got some more good pigeon info for you coming up right after this break.
Color Pigeon Loss, featuring 28 breeds of fancy pigeons, high-performance Turner rollers. We have birds available at all times. Capuchins, Saxon monks, Saxon priests, Swiss crescents, ice pigeon, saints, frillbacks, archangels, starling, figuritas, old German owls, Chinese owls, satinets, swallows, Saxon shields, and much, much more. For breed availability, visit www.colorpigeons.com. For purchasing, pricing, and shipping info, call toll-free 1-800-527-0918.